Hi everyone, and welcome back to the final case in the Ireland's Vanishing Triangle series. This is the case of Fiona Sinnott. Fiona grew up in Bridgetown in County Wexford in Ireland with her parents, and she was also the youngest of 5 siblings. Even when Fiona moved out, she was still really close with her family and would meet up with them every Friday in the local town for a coffee. Unfortunately, Fiona had gone through a few tough times, as was evident in her medical reports, which were revealed to her family during a documentary. In the documentary, the medical reports showed the words 6 months pregnant and bitten by own redacted word. Her files also showed that she was physically abused since the age of 15. And when Fiona was 17 years old, it was reported that she had been kicked and punched in the head, and that Gardaí had to bring her into the hospital in the early hours of the morning so that she could receive medical attention. But Fiona refused to make a statement to the authorities and never told her family about what had happened. When Fiona was 19 years old, she moved 16 kilometres away from her family to a small village called Ballyhit in Broadway. She rented out a cottage for herself and her 11-month-old baby girl. Fiona and her baby's father were not in a relationship at the time of her disappearance. So now on to the events surrounding Fiona Sinnott's disappearance. On Friday, the 6th of February in 1998, Fiona was out with her friends in a hotel called Tusker's Rock Hotel in Rosslare. There, Fiona meets an English lorry driver and ends up spending the night with him. On Sunday, the 8th of February, Fiona meets up with her friends again in a local pub to discuss what had gone on Friday night. It was a quiet night, and the barman that was working there had said that Fiona was sober and that she only had a couple of drinks. At the end of the night, Fiona said goodbye to her friends, and as she was leaving, she bumped into her ex-boyfriend in the doorway of the pub. They spoke for a few moments and then began walking back to Fiona's house together. In a later statement given by her ex, he claims that him and Fiona walked back to her house and she had mentioned that she had a pain in her shoulder and her arm. So when they got home, she went up to bed and he fell asleep on her sofa downstairs. The next morning, he claims that he went up into Fiona's bedroom where she was lying awake on her bed, and she said to him that she was going to hitch a lift to go and see her GP that morning because she was still in pain. She said she had no money to get a taxi, and so her ex decided to give her what he had in his pockets, which was just about £3, for her to get a lift into the town. This was at around 9 a.m. and it was the last time Fiona was seen. Her ex went outside to his mother, who was waiting for him in a car, and her ex and his mother drove back to Codstown, which was where their daughter was staying. Mobile phones were not widely used, and so it was common for Fiona's family not to hear from her for a couple of days. But after the second Friday that Fiona didn't show up for their weekly coffee, her family became quite worried. So her father, Pat, decided to report her missing on the 18th of February in 1998 to the Kilmore Garda Station. And in response, a full-scale missing persons investigation was launched. The family knew that Fiona wouldn't have run away. She was looking forward to her sister's 21st birthday, which was coming up, and also her daughter's first birthday, which would have been the day after. When Fiona didn't turn up for either party, her family knew that something must have happened to her. Various leads were followed up on and inquiries made, but they all led to dead ends. Gardaí had contacted Fiona's GP surgery to see if she had turned up for her appointment on the Monday, but she hadn't, and she hadn't been seen after that neither. There are no sightings of her in public, either taking a bus or hitchhiking a lift. A technical examination was carried out in Fiona's house, but no evidence of foul play was ever found. But according to Mr. Alan Bailey, who was the detective inspector on the case, he said that what was considered most remarkable was the complete absence of clothing and other personal items, indicating that a teenage girl and her 11-month-old daughter actually lived there. It was as if the house had laid vacant for the entire time that Fiona lived there. Mr. Bailey also mentioned how a local farmer had approached investigating Gardaí about some black bags that he had found on his farmland once the public appeals went out. The farmer had simply dismissed the bags as part of the regular illegal dumping that had happened on his land on a regular basis, and so set fire to them. But before he lit them, he searched in the bags for an address within the contents. He found correspondence and containers with the name Fiona Sinnott on them at an address on George's Street in Wexford town, which was a previous address of Fiona's. But because this address did not match up with the missing persons appeal, the farmer did simply not connect the two. One strong line of inquiry that was followed up involved the English lorry driver whom Fiona had met up with at Tusker Rock Hotel. It was suggested to the Gardaí by a male acquaintance of Fiona's that she may have left for England with or after the lorry driver. The lorry driver was tracked down and immediately agreed to meet with the Gardaí, but the lorry driver was ruled out as a suspect in the case as he was able to provide evidence of his whereabouts that weekend. In June 1998, Our Lady's Island Lake, close to where Fiona was last seen, was drained, with Gardaí keeping a 24-hour floodlight watch as it was emptied, but no trace was found. A couple came forward to say that they were out the same night that Fiona was in Butler's, and that they had heard a scream coming from the Mill Pond Cross area, and the Gardaí now believed that they came from Fiona. Gardaí continued their inquiries, and information was received regarding a male who was finding it hard to live with the role that he played in disposing of Fiona's body. The person whom he was confiding in suggested that he tip off the Gardaí anonymously about the location of Fiona's body, but the distressed male refused to do so, claiming that, including the murderer, only 2 other people know the exact location of the body, and tipping off the Gardaí would be like signing his own death warrant. This male died of a suspected overdose in 2001. On the 16th of September in 2005, 7 years after Fiona disappeared, Gardaí arrested 3 men and 3 women with close family links. In a press conference that same morning, Gardaí announced that they were now treating Fiona's case as a full murder investigation. The 6 were held in New Cross and Enniscorthy Garda stations, but were later released without charge. In June 2015, Fiona's family received information and begin a private dig at a location in County Wexford. However, no evidence or remains were found. In February of 2017, Gardaí began carrying out door-to-door inquiries in Broadway. From this, a motorist came forward and said that he had seen a male and female walking on the road near Kisha Cross at around midnight on the night that Fiona disappeared. There were also 2 males in their late teens or early 20s seen in the area, and none of these people have ever come forward. And Gardaí are anxious to trace them or anyone who was in the area at the time. To date, officers have carried out 459 inquiries and 355 statements, and there is currently a €20,000 reward for any information that brings Fiona home. Anyone with information should contact the Wexford Garda Station on 053 9165 200 or the dedicated Finding Fiona Sinnott Facebook page. And I will of course have all of that information in the description box below. And that is all the information I have on this case. I truly hope that Fiona's surviving family find some answers. If you have made it this far into the video, then thank you so much. You are a true supporter and I really appreciate it. This is the final case in Ireland's Vanishing Triangle that I cover on my channel, and if you've missed any of the previous ones, you can find them in the link up above or in the description below, and I hopefully will have some more missing persons cases coming up soon. Again, thanks so much for watching. Take care, stay safe. Bye.